Good morning, folks. Back to iced coffee in a Coney Islander cup, and we are just moments away from a lunch shift at the restaurant. I am absolutely excited. I'm over the moon. And the question I want to pose just to the comment section is with this recent shakeup in the SNL cast lineup, people leaving, new people coming in for season 51. What are your thoughts? Is SNL still a relevant source of comedy? Is it where you go to get your comedy? Do you notice SNL comedy being spread and being part of the zeitgeist, as part of popular culture at all? For me personally, I haven't seen it happen. Now, maybe I'm an old at. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just not in the circle anymore, and younger audiences are sharing SNL clips and stuff like that, and I'm just not seeing them. But I definitely don't see much out of SNL. Apparently this new crop that's coming into SNL or joining the cast of SNL from the writing staff, apparently they're funny people and they're part of Gen Z's crop of comedy crew, and that's great. I haven't seen anything. What I've seen mostly is TikTok comedians, YouTube comedians. I see that being the popular source of where people are getting their comedy. That's where they're sharing their comedy. That's the source of comedy these days, where the SNL model just isn't the model anymore. And I think partly to do with the fact that like anyone can just pick up their phone and do a sketch a lot quicker than putting together a sketch throughout an entire week and writing it and then putting it up on Saturday night. We can do it, if something happens on Monday, any comedian in the world can make a sketch of it by Tuesday or even Monday night. So, and that's not to say it's SNL's fault. That's just their model. I mean, if they switched to a nightly thing, they wouldn't be SNL anymore. So just let me know in the comments what you think, where you stand on Saturday Night Live. If you're a comedian, if you're an actor, if you got offered Saturday Night Live, would it be something that you accepted with joy? Or would you have reservations about it because of the state of it being, the toxic environment that people talk about it having? Is that something that would turn you away? Or do you see it as a stepping stone towards your future career? I'm not sure where I land. Let me know in the comments. No, don't get me wrong. SNL has always been a dream of mine to be a cast member of, because comedy has been my life. I've just loved performing comedy. I love watching comedy. I love being a part of comedy. It's just, some things change, and the institution itself seems to not be the same institution that it was when I was growing up. Now that, my perception could be completely wrong. Like I said, I don't really watch it anymore. It's not a show that I catch. But to be honest, I don't catch The Daily Show when it airs on TV. I catch the clips that they post to YouTube. So what I'm not seeing is SNL clips getting posted to YouTube and shared around on TikTok and stuff like that. So I don't know where the disconnect is. Are the clips not funny? Do people not find them funny, or are they not accessible? Is SNL not making them accessible in a way that you can share them and make them viral into a place where people are getting and being able to consume them in other ways besides Saturday night? I don't know. But now if I want to perform comedy, then I can just do it on TikTok. And while it may not go through a rigorous platform of several other comedians who have their own, opinions on it, and it gets crafted into a brilliant piece of work for SNL, it does go through my filter, and it becomes solely something of me and my creation. I look at inspirations like Jay Renshaw and his character Chit, and the team that they have built from the Groundlings around that. The Groundlings was always been a place where SNL has picked talent from. And now it seems like someone like Jay Renshaw, who would be perfect for SNL, is just branching off on his own to create his own character, his own universe, and he has total control of that. Now, I'm not saying that we'll never see Jay Renshaw on the cast of SNL or any of the other members of the Chit universe on SNL, but for now, it seems that they're doing just fine getting their comedy out there via TikTok, via YouTube, via Facebook, however it is. They are regularly out there, and they are creating characters that are visceral for people. People are going nuts for it. Like, do it, lady. Yeah. Success. Back to it then. He has sayings that people are just repeating. Imagery, iconic imagery, his look, his props, his tattoo, all of these things are just so ingrained in internet culture now. And this is from just putting something out on the internet themselves and not going through a intermediary, like having to be cast on SNL to get there. Now, maybe it's the pathway to getting on SNL. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Maybe if he did and that whole team got on SNL, well, maybe I would consider SNL a lot funnier than I do now. I don't know. But I do see that kind of shift towards just making the content yourself. And it's not now, it's been that way for a while. And it honestly seems more appealing to me to not have to go through all of the, what I understand to be toxic environment sometimes, where people are verbally abusive about, just your work ethic and about, the comedy and about all that kind of stuff, and about the sleeping in your office just to make things work, which, is fine if you're dedicated to that craft. I sleep in my office. My office is my home. So there's that. But, comedy is, subjective. So, everyone has their opinion. So who knows? Maybe I'm just, like I said, maybe I'm out of the loop on what SNL's comedy is. Well, that was a good shift. I mean, it was busy. It was hectic. It was one of those shifts where we do rotation. And so the whole restaurant was down to 3 of us. And so I had a table here, and I had a table there, and then I had a table there, and then I had a table there. So it was a lot of running and jumping around to a lot of different spaces. But the good news about all of that is I made $90. Still haven't broken that $100 mark, but $90 is a whole lot better than 20. So it was a much better day, and they promise that next week, they don't promise, they say that next week should be big money week all around, because of the fall festival's coming, and they have a big fall festival stuff going on. The whole street's going to get shut down and all that kind of stuff, and people will be around. So yeah, the last week working there should be good money. And since I'm not doing anything else, I'm not necessarily going to try to get the shifts picked up. I was, but I'll do it. I'll work it through, make the cash I make, and maybe it'll happen again. If I make no money, they'll give me another meal. They'll give me another meal. I will say this, I have been getting discouraged about some of my characters and how they're not, going a little bit, like getting more views or anything like that, specifically Buzzkill Saw. And but the thing is, I keep going out into the real world, and people I know stop me, and they're like, by the way, I really enjoyed that character you did. And I was like, oh. And then suddenly that exchange just feels so much more than 1,000 or 10,000 views could possibly do, because that means that somebody I know, or that is at least a person that I can see in front of me that was affected in some way by something I made. And I think that's just really, that's part of why I love doing live stuff, and I love doing stand-up comedy, is just because that experience is right there. And so SNL live, maybe You get it. You get the energy. Okay, it was a grandma night, so I went over to grandma's house, and I'm glad I didn't end the video before I went to grandma's house like sometimes I do, because two things happened, and one of them was caught on camera in the vlog. The second one was caught in my mind, and it just happened. It was weird, and it's one of those like weird like simulation moments. Earlier today, for some reason, I think I was running my sink, and I thought, man, if I keep running my sink, then Matt Damon's not going to like me very much because of water.org. And I get over to grandma's house. She says, okay, so tonight, instead of we normally watch a movie or something like that, she said, tonight we're going to watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because Ken Jennings is on with Matt Damon. And I was like, no way. And Ken Jennings is significant to us because of Jeopardy. Whenever Jeopardy's in session, whenever it's a season for Jeopardy, we're watching every Wednesday. We're watching Jeopardy. So Ken Jennings is a big part of our lives. Matt Damon, on the other hand, isn't necessarily a big part of our lives. And for me to have thought about him today and thought about water.org, and then for him to be on Celebrity Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, playing to win $1 million for water.org, just felt like one of those, the simulation got me again. The second place the simulation got me is earlier today I was talking about The Daily Show. Now, The Daily Show is one of my favorite shows. I watch clips of it on YouTube every time they pop up, which is daily. I mean, I don't catch it every day, but you get what I mean. The next episode of Celebrity Who Wants to Be a Millionaire had Jordan Kepler and Ronnie Chang as the guests, who are two hosts of The Daily Show. So it was just one of those nights where I just go, man, I was just thinking about today all day. All right, whatever. Again, guys, in the comments, let me know what you think about SNL. Let me know what you think about the state of comedy and where we're headed. Tomorrow is a day at The Rock. We got Brantley Gilbert. If you're a fan of Brantley Gilbert, I don't know what my thoughts are on him based on the promos I've seen and based on the advances that we've been stated, but we will see how tomorrow goes. Never make assumptions. Lead towards the future with an open mind. Yeah. That's all I got for you today. Until tomorrow, bye.